Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Maxx Diaz, and this is COHORT 3, Future Mindset Individual Assignment 1. So for this segment, we're going to talk about inner city education back in the States. I'm from Rhode Island, the smallest state in America, and I was always brought up by educators. My mother is a teacher herself, and her friends and even another family member of mine is in the education industry. So I'm lucky enough to have one of the directors of education back in my state is my uncle, and so I decided to interview him and see where the future of education for inner city urban areas and back home in the States. So currently, I asked him a few questions on the current status and challenges that he sees in the industry and education, and he sees that a few things that students are starting to lack the motivation to finish their studies and go on further to higher education in college due to the cost of colleges and the rising cost, and as well as just they're not seeing people getting jobs after college. As well as he sees a challenge in the teachers. There's a lack of workforce, and there's not that many teachers entering the field anymore, as it's not seen as a lucrative job for my generation and the people that are entering the workforce. So he sees it's a dying and more of an elderly job, and and that's one of the challenges that they're having, is that schools are not about to have any younger teachers. And the last problem he sees is that the lack of budget that government funds for education and their future generations. So a few of the changes that he's seeing in the future of education is that he's noticing that students are better off and are succeeding more when they have personalized learning and customizable learning, which is help through the help through technology and online learning. So he was telling me that it's pretty interesting to note that back in the day, like when I was a kid, we would be in collaborative groups and classrooms and have one teacher. But he's starting to notice if you target students and notice their strengths and weaknesses, you could customize their learning to help efficiently better and augment their skill sets and help them learn what they need to learn. Because some students learn faster than others, and he's noticing that if teachers and institutions focus and concentrate on each student's needs, that they will succeed more in the future. Another cool thing he's noticing is that that teachers are still encouraging kids to go to college, even though it's seen as like an obsolete thing, kind of, and also just that teachers are encouraging kids to go to college even though the costs are higher, because they believe that it's still the system that we live in. The only way you could succeed out of the urban inner city unaffluent communities is through college. You need higher education. A general education out of high school won't get you that far in life, even though social media has encouraged students, that a bunch of founders and CEOs and the most richest people in the world have dropped out of college and high school and stuff like that. Teachers are still pushing for kids to pursue higher education, which he told me, is one of the biggest challenges and things that he's been encouraging all his teachers to do. Another future thing that I learned that was pretty cool is that industries and companies are starting to trickle down more into the educational area, not from higher education, but more down into high school, to tell institutions what they need for future workers. So there's starting to build a synergetic relationship between companies and education, where companies are, again, telling schools that they need these type of workers and these type of learning machines for their companies. And it's pretty cool to see, he says, that to see students start learning the skill sets that they'll need for a certain job or a certain field. Last thing, especially back home in the States, and back home in my state, is we're one of the only states that don't have a financial education as a main course. So learning taxes and credit and how to budget your money. It's one of the courses that I didn't even learn as a kid back in my state. And that he says that one thing he's trying to push is to have financial education as the main course starting the years of middle school, so your preteens and further. For this last minute, I want to talk about how my own personal story and how I feel like I'm a product of the educational system back home. Quite simply, I graduated in 2017, and I didn't find a good job, or I didn't find honestly any job that suited me and suited my needs, and so it made me go further into advanced degrees, and that's why I'm here at Hope studying for my master's, because there really is a problem that I'm really passionate about and see and notice that even though you get educated, even though you have a degree, sometimes companies still won't hire you. And my interviewer, his name is Victor, he says that there's a huge gap, and that the biggest thing for educational institutions is to find ways to close that gap and help students get educated as well as find the job that they want and the career they want. So thank you for your time, for listening. This is the future of education back home in the States, and I hope you have a great day.